All right, let's look at some blonde Egyptians. I know you don't usually see them in stuff in art because they're known as the black-haired people, but Egyptians, quite often in some of these tombs, which were never meant to be seen ever again by people, do have blonde-haired people in them, although a lot of them are hidden, and you have to find a lot of them on German sites rather than just regular, Google sites or American sites. Sometimes you find them in certain places, and I believe this was at a natural history museum. Um, and to look at this closer, you can tell that these are Egyptians. And one thing that's missing is they don't have black hair, and you can tell that this is their real hair, and not a fake wig too, because it doesn't have the band around it that always holds on the wig. And curiously, you can see a lot of their art. This is extremely high detailed pictures, the reason I used it. And I want to show something to you here that colors change over time. They really fade. They do weird things, and people screw up paintings too. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But this color, believe it or not, right up here is green. I know it probably looks blue in the screen there, but that's green. That's blue. Okay, this is green. That's blue. This is green. That's blue. This is green. That's blue. And that's blue, but a different blue. And this is made of lapis lazuli, and blue is too, and green is made with that, and yellow ochre, and a few other things, and human urine, and a few other nice things. Anyhow, people, what's weird about this is you can tell a few things about their art. I'm just going to go into this for a minute or two, but let me zoom in, and it's going to screw up here, and I'm going to try to get in real close on this. And can you tell, I'm sure you can in the photo now, that their style is to always paint with the skin. They go up and down the arms. You can see this where they go up and down the arms. But what I want to really show you in on a zoomed in photograph is that what they've done here, if you'll look at the walls, that's a yellow ochre. And what they've done is done a wash over the top of it of a lighter color that's more charcoal and contains soot. They've taken little flecks of it and they see what it is. And they go, well, it's the same paint as below it, but thinned out real bad so you can see through it like watercolors, and then they've added soot to it to be darker, so it just kind of puts a mist on it. I don't know how to explain it to you. If you've ever seen a cigarette ash drop, now that's of course white and not black, but whenever you see it smear on something, it leaves a charcoalish smear. Imagine if you did that with soot and what you would get out of it. Well, what they do is they rub that around and give texture to the walls. They don't want any open space. It's a voodoo thing to them pretty much. And so you look at this guy. One thing that's always striking and different about Egyptian art is that whenever they draw the body, it's always in profile but standing sideways, one foot in front of the other, always, so you can see the other leg. But one other thing that's always shown up is their eyes. Their eye is shown looking at you, but their face is shown facing out here. And so it's that weird appearance, but it's something you might draw when you're 4 or 5 years old and stuff. Look at the size of the ears on these damn people, too. So people try to say, these were negroids or whatever they're, and so look at these lips on these, and you can see that they're, that's even bigger right there, right? But these are blonde-haired people, and what they've done is they've done that little smoke over thing, and they do it in a texture way to almost make it look like the way that they comb their hair. You can see the lines in it. You see the little lines in it, and it's combed, and combed, kind of looking. So they could give some texture to it, so it's not just yellow blob. I mean, they don't even put yellow blob on this brass. They want to put the ringlets around the edge, give it some texture at all, and they do that with slight color variations. Something very primitive, but if you look at these swirls here, it's not too much different than a Van Gogh or a Scream photograph, right? Okay, well, going on that, well, let's see. So this really doesn't look blue and green, but it's because blue and green change. Another thing is they show these people here wearing leopards and a sash, and then also this other type of kilt thing with a point at the bottom of it, and the guy at the far right has a textile on with a slight pattern on it. This is a Grecian urn from about the right time, and they end up making the neck shorter after this and slightly more rotund, and they start putting art pictures onto it, and you've seen them where they're black and red. But the reason I say that they do this and not the Egyptians is because these blonde-haired people that we've been looking at that look like Egyptians, imagine, here, let me just, God, it's just whipping around. Let's see if I can get in on it again. Sorry. If you look at them, they paint around their eyes too. but they do it with a flesh color. It's actually separate from the others. But imagine if all we did was put the mascara on these people. These are Egyptians. All we'd have to do is put mascara on them, and those are the Egyptians, right? What's odd about this whole thing we're looking at is this is Cretans, which would be your Greeks and stuff, you know, Cretans and all the people that are around there. And this is they're bringing gifts of metal and jewelry, and it's Cretans, okay? They're bringing that. This is Rukmar. It's one of the few tombs that you can find pictures of where it has the blonde-haired people. But isn't that interesting? So how they screw up paintings. Let me see if I can go through that. Oh, and the blue and green thing. We'll just do that real quick so I can get it here. I don't want to do long videos on this. So this one Nebamun, he has blonde-haired people in his tomb too, but he also has some of the most beautiful art. And again, this is bulrushes and is supposed to be green. And I know it looks blue there, and you can kind of see it's green still here, but it's turned blue. So there's colors in here that are supposed to be blue in the birds, and then other ones it's supposed to be green, but it's all turned blue. This is a group of flowers that she has picked. So she's got a bouquet of flowers, and the stems are blue and not green, so that's kind of incorrect. Colors darken over time. They do things, and again, they have a limited color palette. They're using red ochre, yellow, you know, and they don't have much of a color palette. So let me see if I can show you. They had a flowerette where you could actually still see the color differences. So you can tell that bulrushes looks blue. But where's this flowerette? I hate when I do this because I have 2 or 3 pictures I pick out and I go, let me do a vid. And as soon as I start it, it gets ruined. I know it's a chunk right in here, and all it does is show some flowers in it, but in those flowers you can really see the blue and green. Anyhow, see, if I don't find it in a minute, I'll go on to the next one, but then I'll hate myself. And I think I've gone too far. It surely is before this. It's up here. One of y'all have probably seen the flower go by, and you're like, dude. Okay, where is this flowerette? Was it really back up here? Oh, here's one part of it. You can still see that that is green and blue, hopefully. Okay, you can see that? This is a pheasant bird, and you can see that this is green, and that is blue. Hopefully that shows up. I'm looking at the camera effect, and I can tell the difference of it, although they're... So there you go. That's what they should look like, and you can see it. That's how they fade, and that's how they ruin over time. Okay, so let me show you some more blonde-haired people here, I guess, in another tomb. And I don't know right where I'm at, but here's one from Nebamun, so it's got to have them in there. Yeah. Okay, so look at there's bald-headed people and there's blonde-headed people. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's he himself. He's painted blonde. That's different than the background wall. That's yellow ochre. There's no band around that. That's his hair. Let me see if I can... There's a close-up of one of these here, and this is at I think this is at the Metropolitan Art Museum, by the way. And what's neat about this is you're seeing where they're heating up coals and heating up brands in the coals, and they're branding the cattle with a brand on them. You see this one branding this cow here, and now it's hog-tied. You know, it's like cowboys. And they're branding the cattle to know exactly where they go, and so they can keep them separated from each other, and each person starts to get their own symbols and brands, just like the cowboys, and so on like that. So here's your first rednecks right here. And let's see if that... And where else do we have... Wasn't there something in here? Oh, that's where I just was. And where's the other picture of his tomb? There was a good one that showed a kind of an aspect down the wall, and you can see a large group of them. And then one of the pictures that was inside that group of 6 was actually a... So here, let me show you this real quick, and you can of course pause it and take a look at it. But this is the rules for Egyptian art. Every part of the body must be shown from a familiar point of view, like this. Head and arms and legs for feet always shown in profile, whereas the eyes, shoulders, and person are shown in front. So his arms are always twisted sideways at you, but his body is facing out this way, and so is his head, but his eye again is looking right at you. Every wall in the tomb's covered. They call it har vacui. It's Latin though, but it means fear of empty spaces. So, I know I've missed that other photo and I've missed the other thing. Let's see this. There you go. There's a picture of him offering something and offering an ibex, and he again is blonde haired. You can tell that that's been painted in with a different color. It's been painted in with a golden as compared to the wall. But to see more yellow than over here, except for the darkest parts. And it's yellow like his jackrabbit or jackal that he's caught there. There's another photo I found that had a jackrabbit in it, and they're not known to be from that area, but it's imagined that whenever they had the whole area in reeds and everything like that, that they probably did contain a lot more of the jackals, jackrabbits, and rats and things like that. Said Nubians would eat rats. They grab them and just smack their heads and start chewing on them. They don't cook them. Here's one of the famous wall arts right here. And it's his cat, his pet cat, catching a bird. And for the life of me, I can't remember what the cat's name was, but it seems to be the second time ever a creature had a name for it. The first time was in a Canaanite burial that goes back to about 4500 BC, and it's a dog, and on him has a thing that says his name was Rur, R-U-R. So, roar, he called for a dog or something, I guess, but, and I don't, maybe it had to do with roar, rough or something, I don't know, that's weird, but this cat too, and I forget what his name was, it's got like 2 syllables too, I mean, hey, and for all I know, it means kitty in Egyptian, but that cat goes hunting with him on that expedition where you saw her holding the blue-stemmed flowers. Yeah, and I've missed that real important one in here, guys, and it's almost like the best one. So I'm going to waste another minute going back up here and trying to find it because it showed so many of these blonde-haired people. It's not even funny. In one shot, it showed like, no. Well, here's some. Wow, this seems like the same wall, but it's not showing down the wall like I was talking about, but you see a dark-haired guy here and a blonde-haired kid and a blonde-haired guy giving to a blonde-haired guy, lighter and so on. Here's scribes, and of course they all have black hair. They're all wearing their wigs. But so you can see that. Anyhow, blonde-haired. I know as soon as I stop this video, I'm going to move up a little bit and go, there's the picture. Couldn't find it when I had to, but it's somewhere. Fresco techniques. I'm sorry, people, but let's just look through these photos. These are all, it's just Egyptian wall art's what I've pretty much pulled up. And amazing, isn't it? So yeah, well, if you want to see black people or Africans that are in there, they draw them correctly. They draw them with their faces and mouths stuck out some, and generally with larger lips on them, just basically make them black and white. They're not going to be brown and tan and things like that. They're going to be black. There's Thoth's baboon in one of the earliest depictions ever, and in fact it wasn't even painted. So it's right during that period. Here's Nubians again. Here's Africans in there, and here they're coming to give a tribute. Amenhotep Hoi, so it's the same tomb there. And you can see a light or auburn hair person is cheering the card in and bringing all these Nubians. This is a Nubian princess, and generally the Nubian princess or nobility are going to be drawn a little bit lighter, like the women are drawn a little bit lighter. And so you see this lady lighter, and you see also what they like to do is they like to make every other one lighter, darker, so you can tell the difference between the 2 arms. And so you'll see this one is just rubbed down with the charcoal. And it used to be more charcoaly than that and more of a mahogany look, but the people, whenever they do these, they took paintbrushes to the wall to wipe off all the dust and cobwebs, and in doing so pretty much rubbed about half that soot off. In fact, here's one way you can tell that. Do you see how whenever I zoom in, how this girl right here is half painted? right? It's like they've ruined a few of them in doing this. And you see how the crack is right here? If that crack goes through that color, whenever you rub on it, it's just going to eat it right off because it's kind of stuck up there a little bit and or pooched out some. But again, she's got blonde hair. Um, and no, that's not a Nubian. That's one of the Egyptians, along with them, helping them do their sacrifice thing and bring them in and count the slaves or whatever they're doing. And this is the where they're depicted. Here's one that has not been rubbed by a paintbrush, and you can see all the trash on the wall. I mean, it's really confetti-ish. But let me zoom in here, people. Okay, you see how on these Nubians, every other one is mahogany and then black and then mahogany and black. The mahogany is basically the red ochre with a black put in it, and then they rub it with soot in the direction, giving that hairish profile. These are straw basket hats. That's one thing they were famous for, is their little straw baskets that they could make, like basket weaving and stuff. So yeah, I'm missing that other picture that's a whole profile of, oh, is that it? Yeah, it's a whole profile of the wall like that. It has one on there. But in this one, here again, we have the Nubians that are bringing stuff to the tanned Egyptian people. It's a tribute, and that's at Thebes. It said right there on the side. Kind of annoyed I couldn't find this other one that's got a. It's easy. It's even a better picture than that, and it has more blonde-haired people than it does bald-headed and dark-haired people. And in doing so, I didn't even quite count them yet, but I was like, well, I'm going to count them on the video because I don't want to, yeah, hunting scenes. But yeah, see how blue it looks in there, but really it's supposed to be green. See, I'm missing two photos here. I'm missing that floweret that I was going to talk about. Oh, here's that floweret. Okay, so I'm sure you can see in here green lines and blue lines, dark blue, a blue. You can still see some green. You can see these lines in between the X's are green. The other ones are blue. Green, blue, green, blue, green, blue going around it. Look at the golden sunflower center and how they've off to one side on every single one of them put a blotch. So it's pretty nice art for the time, especially since before that was pretty much drawing stick people that are all one color, usually out of the darker color on an even dark clay. So, ding, 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 where is that picture? I can't go much longer on this, people, so I'm just gonna try to end it right here if I don't see it within a few seconds as I go back up through these hundreds of pictures and try to remember the one that was in my mind, because it's not even really this picture. It's one of the side ones over here that whenever you pick it, that had the aspect of the same thing. The first picture was good. The aspect was even better. Is it up here at the top? No. It makes me want to try to find it and then do it all again, but then I'll miss some of the ones that I already did. Again. I think we're there. Anyhow, I appreciate it. Like and subscribe, and I'll find it. I'll put it in another video. I appreciate y'all. Thanks.